Alrighty, let's continue exactly where we left off before. So we've finished the resume, and now we want to do and contact. Okay, so we have the my services, skills, and contact remaining. So just to show you what it's going to look like. So contact is just going to be this form, right? I'm not sure if we're going to do it in this video, but we're going to do the my services and skills. So my services is that, and skills is going to look slightly different, like we discussed before, right? So let's start. So I'm just thinking out. So what I'm gonna do is my services is gonna have 3 blocks, okay, but they're not gonna be boxed like that, okay? So it's just gonna be 3 blocks, and under it, right under it, we're gonna have blocks like this with a list of items. Yeah, it's gonna look good, trust me. It's slightly different than this, but it's still gonna look good. So let's go back. Let me just save this just in case, and then let's start with. So we're gonna need the resume data to put in the services. So let's start doing that first for both the skills and the services, right? So after that, let's have the services first. Okay. Again, an array of services. You can have as many as you want. So I'd recommend 3 just so it looks good. And I'm gonna copy and actually I'm not gonna copy anything. I'm gonna write down some of the stuff, right? So I'm gonna write down 1 and then copy the rest. So title, okay, maybe web dev, okay, and then description. No, come on, man. Description. I have been a badass web developer for 10 years. I don't know, man, for 10 years. Okay, and then we're gonna have an icon as well. So icon, I'm gonna pass in so I've already imported this web. Have I imported it? Okay, so I haven't imported it, so I'm gonna bring in the web outlined icon. Okay, I'm gonna copy and paste this 3 times, maybe paste, comma, paste, comma, paste, that and that. And then for the second one, I'm just gonna copy it from the website, bro. So let's have branding identity, right? Branding identity, copy, paste, and then I'm gonna give it a different icon, and this is what it's called, board. And for the last one, I don't know, we're just gonna leave it as the same icon. So Illustrator, you guys can change the icon if you want. Development, okay, and copy and paste, save. So that's gonna be 3 services. Let's actually do the skills as well. So skills, and inside the skills, I'm gonna have an array of different skills that we have, right? So for the skills, let's have an array. Object 1, so the title is gonna be front end, okay. The description is gonna be an array of all the front-end languages or frameworks that we know, and I'm gonna copy and paste some of this, copy and paste and do that. So that's 1, okay. I'm gonna copy and paste a couple more actually, so you guys can, this will actually help you as well. So let's do that and paste. So all the front end I know is React.js, JavaScript, Bootstrap, Material UI, probably some more as well, I don't know, HTML, CSS. Don't just like overload everything, because think about it, right? If you're applying for a React.js job, okay, and if you know React.js, that automatically means you know HTML and CSS as well. So there's no point in writing HTML and CSS, because no employer will care if you know HTML and CSS, because they know that you do know it. As in, they do care, but they know that you do know it already, right? So do not overload information. Keep your resume as simple as you can with the sufficient information. Okay, so backend, again, an array of objects that I know. Oh man, Solidity was so fun. But yeah, databases and source control. Okay, so I'm gonna save this. Let's close that. We don't need it right now. Okay, and let's go back to the resume. Yo, let me just get some water. Okay, so experiences and education is done. I'm going to minimize that. And so we have a grid item. Okay, so we're doing grid containers every time, right? Wait, what? Wait, I messed up something. Okay, we're not going to do grid containers every time then, I guess. Let's just get rid of that. Wait, give me a second, let me think, right? Give me a second. Are we actually using this section anywhere? I don't think we are. So let's get rid of that. I think, I don't think we're using the grid section anywhere. Or I'm not sure if we are, but I'm just gonna save that. And so we're gonna have grid items. Interesting. I thought we were, okay, cool. So we're gonna have a grid item. Oh wait, no, wait, just forget everything that I did. Just forget everything that I did. My bad. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this first. Oh, should I stop the video? No, I'm just gonna continue. Doesn't matter. So let's just paste it there. So we have a title now, and I'm gonna call that title services. And in the services, let's see how we're gonna structure it. So we're gonna have, so we have the title, right? We're gonna call it my services later, but inside that we're gonna have a new grid container, which is gonna be this container, and then we're gonna have items in there, which are gonna be mapped from the object, right? So let's do that. So man, I wasted like 3 minutes right there. Sheesh. So my services, and then in there, let's have a new grid item xx12 to take the full width. Okay, and then in there, let's have a new grid container. Okay, and inside the grid container, we want to map through objects, right? So what we're going to do is going to JavaScript mode and then say resume data dot services, since we created that object, and then it's an array, so we can just call the map there. And then for every for the services, we're gonna get individual service, right? You can call this whatever you want, by the way. So then let's return something. What I want to return is separate grid items, right? So I want to return a grid item. On a small screen, it's gonna take 12. On a that's a mobile screen. On a tablet screen, it's gonna take a width of 6. It's always out of 12, right? And on a medium screen, I'm gonna set it to 3. Yeah, I'm gonna set it to 3. Okay, close that. Wait, what happened? Why didn't the automatic grid thing come up? Okay, grid close. Okay, cool. So for every service, we're gonna give it a grid item, and inside the grid item, I'm gonna use. Let me think. Give me a second. We can have a div. Give it a, okay, so let's have a div. Okay, let's give this a class name of services, right? Services, or maybe service, because this is an individual service, right? So service, and then in there, what do we want to do? Wait, give me a second. The first things first is going to be an icon, so we're going to call material UI icon. Okay, and then let's give this a class name. Class name is equal to so service underscore, come on bro, service underscore icon, and then so we're gonna get service dot icon there. right? So remember, if you look at the resume data, okay, for every service, we have a title, a description, and an icon, right? So if we look at the way we want to structure it, it's going to be the icon, title, description. So let's pass on the icon first, okay? And then we want to give in a typography for the title, typography for the title, so service.title, and then another typography for the description, right? We don't need this, wait, we do need it later maybe, so I'm gonna do that, okay? Another one for the service.description, cool. And let's give all of this a class name as well, right? So class name is equal to service_title, and the second one is going to be service_description. Okay, cool. And then so the title is going to be a header, so let's give this a variant of h6, and then this is going to be what is that going to be? So that's going to be smaller text, right? So body 2, let's do body 2. Caption will be way too small, so variant is equal to body 2. Let's save that and see what we get right now before we continue styling it. There we go. Not bad actually. It's alright. So we're gonna have to add this margin between the sections, right? So let's have a margin bottom of 30. What does the first one have? MB30. Wait, give me a second. Oh, it's an MB45. MB45 and PB45. Or MB, it shouldn't make a difference, it should be the same thing. I think margin will be the way to go instead of padding, but it's the same thing really. Not the same thing, but it works the same way right now. But anyway, so let's go ahead. We have 3 of this. We just want to make it look like that, right? Slightly. And then, so let's go into there. And then new one. So services. Okay. And then end of services. So for the services, we're going to apply a couple, right? So for one, which is going to be the container itself. Where we have dot service. Okay, I'm just gonna copy and paste each of these and then explain everything actually. So there we go. So for the service, so remember this each of this is a service, right? So for every service, okay, let's give this a height of 100% just in case, and then a text, so a height of 100%. I'm gonna show you what it will be without it and what it's gonna be with it, right? And then a text align of center, want everything centered, right? And then for the title, it's again nothing special, just alignment, height, size, and width and weight. Okay, weight is the boldness. Okay, and then the description, we have a border color. I'm gonna show you what it's gonna look like, and then yeah, let's just save it, I guess. Save, and this is the icon, right? That's the icon. So give me 1 second. Okay, cool. So yeah, nothing special with the icon, but so when I save it, this is what we get right now, right? This is what we have. But what we want to do is just put some spacing between each of these and like make it take the full width. So I'm gonna do a couple stuff inside the container. We can give in the spacing prop, and let's give this a spacing of 3 between each element, and then we can justify. Okay, we can justify. Okay, and then space around. So it's gonna take space around every element to fill in the full width. Space around. So if I save this, I think that should be it. Perfect. Yeah, that's exactly what we want, right? So web dev. Yeah, I guess that's it. So under this, we're actually going to add the skills. I'm not going to give it a title skills, but we're just going to have individual skills that look kind of in this format now. Cool? As in with the background and the boxes. So let's go ahead and do that. So if I open VS Code again, I'm gonna put this side by side so we can see what we want exactly. Now this is supposed to be the full width, and let's go back to Visual Code. Okay, I'm gonna close the right side for now, and then Control B to get rid of the menu. And so services is done, I guess, right? Let's do the skills now. So for the skills, I'm gonna give this a class name. So we have a section, and then I want to give it a background as well, right? So if you look at that, we want a background of a gray kind of background. So I'm gonna say just gray, just in case you want to use this somewhere else later on. So gray BG, okay. And then here we're gonna give this a padding button of 45 again, right? So PB underscore 45. Save. Save for now. And then in there, so we're gonna do all the stylings later, but in there again, I'm not gonna give it a title this time. I'm just gonna go directly into it, right? So what we want in here is different grid items, right? So what I can say, okay, so let's do this. So let's actually just map through every item, right? So let's go into JavaScript mode and then say resume data. Why don't I get the hint? So come on, resume data dot skills. Okay, we already created the skills dot map, and then in here I'm gonna get an individual skill. Okay, and then I want to return something. So I want to return a grid item. Let's do that first. A grid item. Close it for me, bro. No. Okay, so now return a grid item, and then the grid item is again gonna have some rules. So if it's a small screen like a mobile screen, taking a full width. Okay, if it's a small screen, I think it's gonna be the same as the above. So if it's a small screen, taking half the width, so that's a tablet. And then if it's medium or above, taking 3 columns out of 12 each. So we're gonna divide it into 4, right? That's what we want to do. For the outer container, I'm gonna say something as well, right? So let's give this some spacing. So there's gonna be spacing between every element inside, and the element is gonna be the grid item. So let's have that a spacing of 3, and then let's justify the content. Justify. We're gonna justify the content to be, there should be some space between every element. I'm gonna format that and I'm done. So in here, we want to return a grid item. Let's see what we have right now. Oh, it's gonna be empty. So inside the grid item, we want to return something, right? I'm gonna set, so if you look at this element here, it's like a paper and stuff on top, right? So Material UI have a paper component. So I'm going to use the paper component that looks something like that, right? I'm going to use the paper component and call that. So I'm going to say paper. Let's import that from Material UI. Okay, paper, and then it also, the paper has a prop called elevation, right? So elevation is how high do you want it to be from the background. So it basically just adds a shadow. So I don't want any elevation for this. So I'm going to say elevation equals to 0. Elevation is equal to 0, right? We don't want any elevation. No, not there. And then inside the paper, we want something. We need the typography, so a header and a list of items. So we'll see. Wait. So we're gonna have give me a second. Typography. I keep saying this over and over again, but man, I should have prepared for this. Typography. The typography is gonna be a header. I'm gonna give this a variant of h6. And let's give this a class name as well, right? So class name is equal to skills underscore title. Skills underscore title. And in here, let's just give it a skill dot title. Format, save. So that's gonna be one title. Let's see what we get for now. Cool. So we have front end, back end, databases, and source control. Those are the 4 titles that we have. Inside that, what are we going to do? So inside the, wait, let's look at our resume data. So we have the skills, we have different objects. So we have the title, and then we have description, and inside the description we have several elements, right? So let's go back here, okay, and create another map, right? Because now we want to map through all the elements, right? So we're gonna say skill. So for the skill that we get, we're gonna get a description. So the description dot map, okay. So we're mapping through these items now, and we're gonna get separate elements. I'm just gonna call this elements, okay. And then in here I want to return something. So what I want to return is a new typography. Okay, the typography is going to have a couple stuff. It's going to have a, wait. So remember how our timeline has a dot? We can basically use that dot. You're going to see what the outcome is going to be, but just follow along, right? So we're going to have a timeline dot, okay, and then in there we're going to pass in the elements. So just give in, no wait, just give in the element name, right? Let me save this and see if it works. If it works, we're going to go ahead and style it. No wait, the element is outside the dot, my bad. Okay, let's have this as a self-closing tag. Save. Okay, so what we're gonna do is make this in line. So that's gonna be let's give this class names, and then we're gonna format it, right? So just for the start, I'm gonna give this a variant. Trust me, it's gonna look good. Variant of body too, and then let's give the dot. Wait, let's give this a class name as well, right? So class name is equal to skill underscore description and this is the individual skill, so I'm going to get rid of the s up there as well. Skill description, and then for inside the description we have a timeline dot, right? So I'm going to style the timeline dot as well. First of all, variant is equal to outlined. Okay, I don't want it to be solid, I want it to be outlined, and then let's give this a class name is equal to timeline underscore dot. I guess that should, let's give the paper a class name as well. So class name is equal to skill. So we get the skill, and then we get the skill title, the skill description, and then the timeline dot. Save. Let's go to a CSS. So I'm going to close that. So services, let's create a new one called skills, and I should have commented every other CSS file too, right? And of skills. Okay. Oh, sheesh. So what do you want to do here? First thing, we're gonna have a skill, right? We're gonna have a skill and then a skill underscore title, right? And then we're gonna have a skill, and then under inside it we're gonna have a skill underscore description or elements, whatever. We should have called it elements, right? But and then we want to do that dot as well, right? So I'm gonna say dot skill, and then it's inside the skill description. So skill underscore description, and then the timeline dot, wait, dot. So let's start styling some of this. For the skill, the first thing I want to do is let's give this, make it look like that, right? So have a border radius, a background color, a box shadow, and the height as well. So for the skill, let's give a border radius of 6. Let's do 8 because I checked this one and chooses 8. So 8px. Okay, let's give this a padding. Okay, there's space between the border and the elements inside, so let's give this a padding of 20px. And then let's do the box shadow. So I'm going to copy the box shadow that I have already and the height as well. So save that. Just copy this in. Save. Okay, so this is what we get first. Okay. And then so for the title, I have all of the titles in. I'm just going to say that. And then for the description, now here's what we want to do with the description, right? We want to make everything into the same line. So the timeline dot and the element should be in the same line, right? So what we can do is just give it a display flex first. Display flex, save that and see what we get. Right, so it goes into the same line. We want to align it vertically centered, so that should both be aligned centered. So I'm going to say align items center, so that will align it centrally. And then I'm going to give it a color and a font weight. I'm going to copy this lines of code. Okay, so color is going to be slightly different, slightly grayish, and then a font weight, and then a line height. And then for the timeline dots, I want to do something else. Okay, so for the timeline dot, I want the color to be black. Wait, we don't need the color. Okay, so I want the border color to be our variable color. I'm going to set the padding to 2px, and then I'm going to have a margin right. So there should be a small margin between the dots and the elements, right? So the only thing left, I guess, is to implement the gray BG. Remember where we had this? So gray BG, just in case you want to use it somewhere else, let's go ahead and have it inside the app.css. So all I'm going to say is, just towards the end, I'm just going to say gray BG. Let's have that color, save. And there we go, but there's something wrong. Something wrong. Wait, I have a bunch of code. Let's see if that makes a difference. Try that. Wait, forget about all of that, right? I'm gonna pause the video for a second. Wait, so the problem we're getting is we have a padding out. Let's have the padding inside first, right? So if I go back to the code, okay, let's go back to resume.css. Just bear with me for a second here. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have, so inside the container, I wanna have a padding of, let's say, 50px, and I'm gonna add that into the CSS, right? So let's have p_50, and let's have a padding of 50px and make it important just in case. Save. Okay, so that's the first thing to look better, but we want to get rid of the outside padding. And here's the thing, right? The outside padding comes from, where does it come from? Container section. There's some sort of padding that we've added right outside this element, so that applies everywhere, and the main contents, I'm gonna get rid of that actually. Okay, so let's go over here, the main contents. Okay, app.css, let's find that. I'm gonna get rid of this padding. Save. And then you know how we have section in each of these? So for each of these we have a section. Let's create a CSS called section. Okay, section. Okay, and for the section we're just gonna say I should have a padding left and a padding right of 30px. So it's gonna be the same thing, but wait, padding right of 30px. Okay, so that's fine, and we just want to have some sort of padding on top, right? So on top of the first one. So what we can do is let's have a padding of 30 for the first one. PT of 45, PT, no wait, not here. So for the first item, the about me, we want to have some sort of padding top, right, of 45 maybe. So if I save this and create a PT of 45 inside the app.css. Right, so let's create a PT, PT underscore 45. I'm gonna copy and paste this line. Inside bottom, that's the top, and save. I feel that should be fine. Nothing. PT underscore 45. Oh, it's underscore, not dash. Save. I think this should be fine, right? Oh no, what happened there? Dang, bro. But okay, so the padding around all of this is fine. We're gonna have to fix that. So about me is fine. Education is fine. Skills is fine. Services is fine. Now for the skills, there's something wrong. If I get rid of the spacing, does it make a difference? Yeah, it actually does make a difference. So what I can do, because the spacing actually adds a spacing all around the container, right? And because it's adding it everywhere, the outside element is being pushed as well. Do you get it? So what I can do in here is, instead of adding it to the container there, give me a second, right? Give me a second. What I can say is I can have a new grid container inside. So if I set this, okay, so if I have a grid item first, okay, that takes the full width, okay? Come on, grid item access equals 12. Nope. 1, 2, and then in here I have the grid item closed. Wait, not there. In here I have the grid container, and then give this, move this in there. No, wait, what did I do? Control X, Control V, but then move the justify inside the inner div container, and then have the spacing of 3 in here. Hopefully that should fix it. Let's see. Nice, let's go. Okay, cool. So that fixed it, right? So we have the about me, we have the resume, we have the services, we have the skills, and just towards the end, we're gonna do a contact. I'm really tired. I'm gonna take a small break, and we're gonna do the contacts in the next video.